Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. You may have read that Al Heyman and PBC, whereas previously it was thought they were doing a deal or trying to do a deal with Amazon for a streaming service for their boxing stable. In fact, you may have read that they've gone to Netflix, and it seems that they're going to have one or two sort of toes in the water just to test it. A couple of shows shown. Netflix, an absolute behemoth of a streaming platform. They are, I think, along with Amazon, they are wanting to sort of build up a sporting resume, much in the same way that BT have done with TNT Sports, whatever it's called. So this is a development. Will it work out for PBC? I have strong reservations about PBC. I don't think their fighters fight nearly enough. I think they don't really, they don't seem to maneuver their fighters very quickly, very well. I mean, the obvious choice is Spence Crawford. How long did that take to put on? And I think this really stems from the fact that PBC were trying to build and sort of in-house, almost like a UFC model, which hasn't happened for reasons that I'll have to go into in a different video. But as far as the platforms are concerned, having lost their Showtime, the Showtime gig, PBC, where have they gone? Well, there was talk of them, as I say, with Amazon, but also DAZN. Maybe they'd go to DAZN. Okay, so now maybe they'll go to Netflix. But the point is that this kind of illustrates what myself and others have been saying for a long, long time, which is that, streaming is the way to go. When DAZN started, I immediately wanted it to succeed. And DAZN is the only thing I subscribe to, because I want a Netflix of boxing. It now seems that the Netflix of boxing, for all we know, in years to come, may be Netflix. But Netflix is so are DAZN. But Netflix is dealing with all sports, and well, so does DAZN as well. But I mean, it really is. I think this is the platform, streaming, and we can sort of, nostalgically remember the nights of watching terrestrial television boxing, or even pay-per-view is under the cosh at the moment, the concept of that, because it's created a false economy. It's created a bubble. Up and up and up go the cost. Look at the cost in America just to buy one pay-per-view. Now, if you can buy, if you subscribe to a streaming service, look at DAZN. Look at the amount of cards from all over the world you're getting per month. And I'm not on DAZN's payroll, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I subscribe to DAZN because I get, every week I've got something to watch. I'm not paying through the nose for one event which could flop, which could be a load of rubbish. I'm paying for Matchroom shows, Golden Boy shows, and there are other sports on there as well. I'm not really into them, but it's a great. And if you buy a year's worth in one go, it's about £8.30 a month. It's really nothing. So. Yeah, I mean, and you've got Fight TV and ESPN Plus, and I think there's one called payperview.com I read about. Streaming is the way to go, and I definitely want DAZN to succeed. I think with people like Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya, who understand boxing, who really do know how to put on shows, this is what we need. If it goes to Netflix, it goes to Amazon. I mean, the more platforms, the better. I don't mind, as long as we don't get a sort of segregated situation where one like we used to with Showtime and HBO, where getting them to cross over is very, very difficult. As long as we don't get that, I don't mind. I think if it's a capitalist model, you have to have competition, and a lot of it. And we all know that boxing is perfect at shooting itself in the foot. So there's plenty of potential pitfalls. But at the same time, the more streaming services you have, the better, And I think, it's another factor is the fact that so many people, myself included, find, other means to watch these shows, which are essentially streamed. So how are you going to defeat that? You've got to offer a top content, value for money model, streaming model. And of course, you can put it on your telly or whatever. Don't have to watch it on your computer or your phone or your tablet or whatever. You put it on telly, as we know. But this is the way to go. This is what's going to happen. So it doesn't surprise me that Heyman is sort of doing the rounds. Go to Amazon, DAZN. What about Netflix? You'll get a lot of people doing this. A lot of people who are going to do this. And a streaming service like, for example, DAZN, like what Hearn does. He doesn't just deal with UK fighters. He deals with international shows. He's always putting shows on, Mexico, and he's done ones in Europe. I think he's signed a co-promotional deal for Japan now, which is great because it will bring in a lot of these smaller fighters who fly under the radar, who have terrific low weight fights that but no one ever seems to notice. And the Mexican shows that De La Hoya does are fantastic because they highlight, they've got some great fights on them, and they highlight stars or boxers that could become stars but get overlooked. This is the way to go. The world is shrinking. You can't be parochial minded and just view, you look at your own garden and don't look beyond your garden gate. You've got to look out at the big world and shrink it so that everything is accessible. And I think streaming is the way to do that. Frank Warren, years ago tried it with Box Nation to have a channel that was just boxing. Didn't quite work out, probably because it was probably a little bit old-fashioned, and he just didn't have the money to do it. It was a little bit old-fashioned in the sense that although it was available online, it was more of I guess you would call it a rival, like more of a cable thing, more of a satellite thing, rival to Sky or something like that. Didn't quite work out, but the idea was there. But if you take that idea and you put it into a streaming service, I think that's the way to go, definitely. And I think that's been proven over the last 3-4 years, maybe. Anyway, if you've got any comments, leave them below. Tell me what you think about the whole idea. And yeah, thanks for your time as always. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button and spread the word about Joe's Son of Boxing. I always appreciate your time. Catch you later. Bye for now.